Okay, thank you for joining me. This is Fly My Mavic, and this is a Phantom 2 Vision egg camera. Up until just recently, there was no fix for them, as there is with the Vision Plus. I've done, well, this will be number 5 if I get it working. So I'm going to show you how to repair the Phantom 2 Vision egg camera. First thing, we're going to take it apart. We're going to leave the gimbal on. We don't need to take the gimbal off to get to the parts that we need. Okay, so first of all, there's 4 screws in the body here, in each hole. These is a 1.5mm, and it's got to focus. There we go, 1.5mm, and it's the hex driver. You need to take these screws out of the body. So let's undo these, and we'll make a start. There's a lot of screws, so try and find somewhere to put them all. I use the lens cap from off Phantom 2 Vision Plus. This was sent to me by a chap who wants to get it revived because he just likes flying it. And I'm happy to attempt repair, because although I've not had a fail yet on any of the ones I've done, some people have had issues. So I'm hoping if I can fix this in this video, and it's a run through, I'm not going to make any editing, it's literally just going to be a get it apart and fix it, and fingers crossed it all works type video. So it might go on a little bit, so you can always skip through the stripped down parts, or if I start to waffle, it's just because I'm filling sound while I'm doing something. Well, actually, I know what you're thinking. What if it's already working? Am I just lying to you? Okay, so what we'll do then, we'll get the range extender and we'll put it on, and I shall bring in my test rig. Oops, excuse me. This is my test rig, and I have a power lead for it, so let's plug that in, put the camera in shot, and we'll just power that on. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it lights up and goes green. There we go. So the egg camera's on. As you can see, it's got a green light on it. And then just now need to connect my phone to the Wi-Fi, providing that the chap who sent it me hasn't been messing around with the pairing process, because otherwise I'll have to go through the whole binding thing again. Just wait and see whether the Wi-Fi comes up on it. Set to Wi-Fi. Don't forget there's a switch on the back of these. Make sure it is in the Wi-Fi on position, or else it won't do anything. It won't work. There we go. We've got a Phantom 6060. I'll just bring the phone in, and I'll just turn the brightness down so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So I'm connected now to the Phantom network. Well, it's connected. There we go. Connected. And go to the Vision app. Turn it on its side. I'll just bring it into the camera there so you can see it. Going to tap on camera, and it spins the circle of death, as you can see. That's what iOS does. Android just puts a black screen. iOS has this little spinning circle on it. So that is definitely a non-working unit. So let's power that off. Always power off before you unplug this lead, or else you'll end up blowing the main board, which you don't want to be doing. Turn the range extender off. Camera's always in shot, so I'm not swapping it out, because some go, oh, he just swaps it out for a working one. There we go. Right, once the screws are out, to get these apart, there's a little bit of a pull like this. Watch that little button that falls out inside, don't lose that. But that's the one side. To get the back off, a little bit of brute force. Just get your fingers on the edge and just push like that, and then you should just be able to pop it off. There we go. It sounds like it's breaking, but it's not breaking. Okay, this is the inside of the camera then. And this is the bit I hate, because it's so little tiny screws that are unreal. First thing I want to do is just pop off the aerial adapter cable things here. Just pop those off gently with those. Don't break them, because they are very, very delicate, and just fold them out the way. Okay, first thing then, there are 4 screws, 1, 2, 3 and 4 on this top board here. Just need to take those 4 screws out. Sometimes they'll just unscrew properly, other times you might have to get a pair of tweezers just to help pull them out. That's 1. And then this back one here. We'll go around 2. I did say I'm not going to do any speeding up of the video. You're going to see this repaired as I repair it. 3. As I said, I've done, I can't remember if it's either 4 or 5 of these cameras. 2 of my own and 1 for another guy. So this will be number 4 then. I've got 1 more that I've just picked up the other day on a fully, well, I say fully working. It's a Phantom 2 Vision that I acquired, and the camera doesn't work on it. So that'll be another one into the repair shop, so to speak. Now, once you've got those 4 screws out, just gently flick up this board. And then there's a little ribbon cable, and if you just give it a little bit of a tug, you see the cable comes out. Just hang that over there out the way for now. 2 more screws here, one there and one over here. Just need to just take those screws out. And again, put them somewhere safe. Excuse the dogs barking in the background. I have neighbours who have devil dogs that like to bark needlessly. And my neighbour doesn't seem to understand how annoying it can be. There you go, another screw there. Alright, once you've got those 2 screws out, this board, you just again wiggle it gently, but be very careful when you lift it because there is a little wire there. See the wire? That controls the fan on the quad, so just gently put that out of the way and don't pull too hard on it. Those wires will snap quite easily. All that's left now are 2 screw posts here and here. You have to just gently get those out. Now you can sometimes just use a Phillips screwdriver, and this should hopefully just unscrew. And I usually find it's best to get a pair of tweezers just to finish pulling it out with. That's those little post things there like that. And then that one as well. Once it's unscrewed, lift that out of the way. Again, another one there. I'll pop that. Once you've got those screws out, take a little tub and just move it out of the way, because if it gets knocked during the process, you'll lose those screws. Third board, this is the problem board, joins a little connector here, and you just need to gently just push up and it should just pop off. Once it pops off, it comes out, and that is the board that has the problem on these Phantom 2 Vision egg cameras. Put the other part of the camera out of the way, we don't need that. This is the part we're interested in. And these are the connections down the side here. We're going to be soldering wires to those, and then we're going to be flashing it all up. So, first thing I need to do is make sure my soldering iron's on and it's hot enough to use. And then I'm going to need to use this. No, not that. That don't want to use that, do we? We want to use this. This is a FTDI, or a TTL to USB adapter, used for programming Arduino boards. I did in the last video call it out. I kept referring to it as an Arduino board, and it's not an Arduino board. It is a TTL to USB adapter. So my apologies if you watch my previous videos. That is not an Arduino board. Anyway, so this has 5 volts out on it. And it also has 3.3 volts out, so that's on this jumper that's all badly bent out the way. I'm not sure how that's ended up bent. I hope it's not broken anyway. Oh, I dropped a battery before off the shelf and it landed on top. Fingers crossed it still works. If it doesn't, there's going to be a bit of a short video again. First of all, there is a ground wire. That's the blue one there. There are 2 power leads on the 5 volts. Then you have your TXD and your RXD. I'm just going to power it up and make sure that doesn't fail when I plug it up together. Oh, there we go. That's fine. Windows is seeing that as a device. That's fine. That's still working. Okay, so we need to prep this board now. And what I do is I just gently scrape the little copper pins. Let me just find the picture that we need. So let me just go over to my desktop. All right. So on the pad are little pads marked TP1, TP2, TP3, TP5, TP8. Okay, so I have this little device here for holding circuit boards whilst I solder them up. Just going to see if the soldering gun is ready to use. Working, so let's just get that on there. Yeah, this is what you get. Comedy of errors. Put that way, didn't we? There we go. Right, so we're going to drop some solder on these pads that I've got ready before. So with them all soldered up, I'll just show you that on the. If I can get it to zoom in, if I can get it to focus. Are you going to focus? There we go. Your little across the top here. In fact, let's take it out of that. Take it out there for a minute. And we'll hold it up to the camera, so hopefully it'll focus on them. Is it going to focus? Focus. Webcams. Come on. There we go. Anyway, you can see. Yeah, there we go. So across here, you got the one soldered up, and you got this one at the bottom as well, TP10. Okay, let's do the. Let's get all the cables connected to it now. Okay, apologies for that. My phone rang, and I had to take that call. Let's just stop recording for one moment. Right. Okay, where were we? So yes, we've got the board all ready to connect the wires to, and again, this is the adapter we're going to be using. So I just need to get my clamp one more time. I'm going to be using this just to hold it steady whilst I solder onto it. Okay, that should all be ready to rock and roll. Just one more cable which I need to solder on, which is my TP10, my jumper wire, which is this one here. I need to put that onto TP10 at the bottom. And okay, that one's done. So once it's all finished, it's all connected up, it should look something like this, and you can see the adapters connected up. Again, I'll just put the wiring diagram up on the screen so you can see how it's all been wired up. As you can see, connections are your RxD on your little board to TP1, your USB, the TXD should say on TP2, USB ground on TP3, and power on 5, and TP5 and TP8. I know I've got a red line through that because I was playing with something when I first put this picture together. Now, one thing I should point out is that not all PCs and laptops are created equally, and some laptops don't give out a good 5 volt. So you need to make sure you've got a good 5 volt supply to do it. Someone did say that they had trouble, so they used a power bank, just cut the end off the cable and then just used the power bank to power the board on TP5, TP8 and the ground on TP3. Right, let's go back to the webcam for a moment. Now you'll notice this red wire hanging off here. That is how you get it into boot mode. I'll cover that when I do the software side of things shortly. I'm just going to show you a picture that I've got now of the where you need to touch that to. So let me just go back over to my desktop. Okay, here on this picture you will see this little yellow dot. That's on the reverse of the board, which I'll show you in a second. So that red wire you just saw has to be touched to this little resistor here to go into what we call boot mode. Don't touch it to any of these because there's a good chance you might just end up blowing your board or your TTL adapter. So this little yellow dot here is where you touch that red cable to once you've got it all set up and ready to go. Right, so let's just go back to webcam and I'll turn the board over and I'll try and show you close up. It might not focus, but if it does, it does. Okay, over here, I need to be very careful with these wires, it's very easy to pull the pads off. So you can get that in there, and you're going to be touching this into this section here. So it's best if you use a pair of magnifying goggles because you can see exactly what you're doing. Right, it's time to go over to the software side of things. So I'm going to just put that to one side for a moment. Bring in my keyboard. Let me just go to desktop. Okay, so on the desktop we have some software, and this software I use is a program called ZOC7 Terminal. I've found that ZOC7 Terminal works better than PuTTY, it works better than TerraTerm, etc, etc. So the first thing you're going to want to do is to plug in the TTL adapter to your USB socket. Let me just go back to my webcam a second, I'll just show you that. There's my USB lead, and I'm going to plug in the little serial board into the computer with that. So you should then hear ding diddling, that's Windows finding the little TTL to USB adapter. Okay, back to desktop. Now what we want to do is go to ZOC7 Terminal and click on, you need to make sure the connection type is serial, and if you click on configure you get to put the speed in there, etc. That's what it should look like. Just pause the screen, make a note of that because that's what it should look like. Once you've got it all configured as that way, just click on connect. And you'll now see it says serial port connected to port COM3. You'll notice there's nothing happening. That's totally normal. Excuse me, the boards don't do anything, they don't output anything when they are broken. I found that with pretty much every board I've ever repaired on these. Now then, we now need to put it into what they call boot mode. Boot mode is where the board is then ready to receive commands. Okay, now then, this is the bit where you need to touch that little jumper cable, this one, to the chip on the back. I'm not going to do it on camera, instead I'm going to leave the screen showing, and then you should hopefully see the message boot me appear in the program. So bear with me a second while I just very quickly turn the board over and tap that resistor. There we go, you've now got boot me showing on the screen, so that is now ready to accept the commands for flashing. Now then, let me just close it out. Once you've done that, you need to close this out or else the flash program won't work. When it comes to flashing, most people struggled with DOS. So I wrote a little tool in Visual Basic. You will need to install Net Framework, and I will put a link to this below with some instructions. You'll notice there are 3 boxes. The original flash files are for the Phantom 2 Vision Plus module. There is a PTV flash file and there's an alternate PTV flash file. You may need to try both sets of files before you find one that works. I have more luck with the alternate ones than with the ones marked PTV flash. All you need to do, quite simply, is just click on the box and it will ask, do you know the COM port you are using? Let's pretend we don't know, although I do. Hit no, and it will say, I'll now open Device Manager. Please look in the port section and make a note of the port number used by the TTL adapter. Press any key to continue. And there is Device Manager. So go down to ports here and you will see I'm using port 3. Once you close out Device Manager, the screen will continue and it will say you're about to flash the alternate Vision camera files. Press any key to continue. Okay, now flashing with the alternate Vision files, use Device Manager term in COM port and enter the COM port. So we know it's COM port 3 and we're going to press enter. Okay, the first thing it does is send the first part of the image down. And then it will come up with a message, boot me, boot me. This is an automated script. Don't touch the keyboard at any time. Just let the program run through. And it will then ask you for the COM port again. So it's COM port 3. Press enter. And then hopefully, if it comes up with the right message, it should now continue to flash and send the data to it. If you got this far, there's a 99.999% chance it's going to finish. This does take maybe about 30 to 40 seconds to complete. You can go make a cup of tea, or if you're a smoker, have a cigarette. Not that I condone smoking, I'm just saying it's entirely up to yourself. 70%, 80%, 90%, there we go, 100% done. Writing the data, and all done, completed. Ignore this box that pops up, this was for the Phantom 2 Vision. Right, okay, so once that's done, close that out, and we're going to close that out. Now, the first thing we have to do now is to go back to the little module, and we're going to unplug the module, and we're going to plug it back in again, like so. Once it reconnects, we're going to go back to ZOC7 terminal. We've already set it up from before, so you should be able to click connect, and it says mount point temp does not exist. And hopefully now, if those files have worked, this should now start to boot up and run Linux. You can see on here, for instance, that this one has been a bit damaged because it's doing a lot of work beforehand, moving data around, cleaning stuff, etc, etc. And it comes up with all this kind of text. What I like to do is I just like to stop that. And again, I'm just going to restart the module. Plug it back in again. And then run ZOC7 a second time. Click on connect, and there we go. That booting through means it's got a working file system and it's building and everything. Hopefully now that means that this unit has now been fixed. Only way to find out, of course, is put it all back in the camera and see whether or not it actually does work. Okay, put my keyboard to one side, I don't need that for the moment. Let's go back to the webcam, and what we're going to do is just unplug this adapter. And then we're going to take all the wires off it. So with your soldering iron, you just need to gently dab away to remove the wires. Don't pull anything at all. Always make sure you unsolder them, because if you break any of the pads off these boards, you will never ever be able to do any work on it ever again. Okay, that's the little TTL adapter taken off. I can turn off my soldering iron now. There's the board, all ready to be reassembled back into the camera. And here's the camera. So, it's quite obvious how it goes back together again. I won't bore you with the details. I'll just simply put it all back together and we'll keep our fingers crossed and say that this works. I have done a few of them and they have worked before. So fingers crossed this one does as well. Actually, oops, I'll tell you what I forgot to do there. Screw by error. Put that on there. Make sure it sits nice and flat. And then I need the posts. So bring in my little tub of screws, which I put out of the way before. And now I can't find them. Hang on a second. Oh, there they are, at the back of the cupboard. At the back of the cupboard here. So remember, it's the 2 screw posts, first of all, that you need to put in. And I usually find just putting them on the end of a screwdriver and poking them in works just well. Let's just pop that in there. Fingers crossed and get it in without dropping it down the side somewhere. That's it. Screw that post in. If you're ever tempted just to try and put this back together without putting the screws and posts in, forget it. It just won't sit right. I've had that before, and you've always got to at least put these screw posts in before you can do anything, before you can try and test it. Otherwise the top board doesn't sit quite right and it all goes wrong badly. Okay, that's that screw down in there like that. Try and get this on camera so you can see what I'm doing. Watch this wire. When you put it back again, the connectors are here and these bits go up the back, so just gently fold that in and you should hear it click like that. Just grab the one screw for now. You don't need to put all the screws in just to test it with. Just put the one screw in. I always prefer to put the screw in this corner here because it tends to rise up otherwise. Let's just put that screw in for now. And the last board to go on is this one. Just put the ribbon cable up like that for a minute just while you test it. You will need to fold that back down again into place once you've done. And again, you should hear a click when it all sits in properly. Make sure it's sat down fully. If it's not sat down fully, as you'll see here, it rises up slightly on this corner here. You just pop that off and make sure it's sat properly. These connectors are a push fit connector. And in you go. There we go. As you can see now, that gap now has disappeared there. Pop the aerials on. These little pigtail connectors are an absolute nightmare, so if you've got a pair of tweezers, it's usually a bit easier to grab them with a pair of tweezers and line them up. Again, unless you've got bad eyesight like I've got, in which case it probably take you about 20 minutes to try and get these things to go on. Which it always does. Well, you can just feel them pop into place. Don't force them if they're not going to pop on, because you can damage the ends of them. And believe me, you don't want to damage the ends of these little cables because they're a nightmare to straighten up again. There we go, that's one. And that one. Once you've done these a few times, you get used to them. Right, so temporarily reassemble. I've not put screws in the top because I don't need to do that. What I need now is to put on this range extender. And I need to bring in some power. So let's get the test riggy and pop that on there like that. I'm going to just turn that around. I'm going to plug it in. Make sure it sits in fully and you get that click. Power on the quad. Or your test rig or whatever it is you're going to be using. And just bring that into the view of the camera a little bit so you can see what's going on. As you can hear now, light has come on. I now need to grab my phone and wait for the Wi-Fi to appear. This is the nerve-wracking bit after all this work, and will it work or not? It can be very nerve-wracking doing something like this because you've spent all that time and you expend all that energy taking it apart and flashing it and doing all the rest of it. And fingers crossed, you then think, yes, you do get a result from it. So we've got the phantom Wi-Fi showing, which is good, and we're connected to it. Turn the phone on its side. We're going to launch the DJI Vision app. Remember, DJI Vision for the Vision and Vision Plus. On its side like that. And moment of truth. Will it work or won't it work? And it works. There you go. Look, you can see the range. Oh, I'm going to put that on that side so you can see what I'm doing. You can see the range extender going past the camera. So that now is a fully working Vision FC200, whatever you want to call it, camera. Another successful fix, and I'm glad I got a chance to do this video because I've tried a few times and I had some problems getting the video recording to work. I got all the way through it the other day and I'd realised it stopped recording in OBS, which wasn't fun. Right, so things to remember then. Stages: strip down the camera, take the board out, solder the board up. I'll put pictures for the TTL connections, etc. What I'll do is, as I said, I'm going to build a tool to do all the flashing. It won't be the one you saw on the desktop earlier, which was this one here. I'll just build a dedicated one for these two files, and I'll leave out the flash files. I'll also put links to TerraTerm and the couple of pictures and stuff, so hopefully it should be like pretty much an all-in-one click to do sort of guide for you, because I'm that good at what I do and I really like my subscribers. Oh, if you just come across this and you're not a subscriber, why not? I mean, it helps me if you subscribe. I'm doing quite well for a small channel, and if you want to subscribe, please do. If you want to leave me a comment below if this worked for you, you know, fantastic. I'm hoping to see more and more people getting these old Visions back in the air now that we have a fix for them. But otherwise, yeah, that's it. It's working. It's another successfully fixed working Vision. Just so you don't think I'm cheating. There you go. Look, you can see as I move the camera around, it's not a fake. That is the camera that we saw at the beginning that I've taken apart and I've repaired. And I'm really happy. The chap who owns this is also going to be very happy as well because he wants his Vision back in the air. I'm not taking credit for any of the files, by the way. As I said, these have come from the Phantom Pilots forum. I just thought I'd build a video that shows you how to do the repair, so hopefully you can repair your Phantom 2 Vision. Now, if you aren't able to do this, if you're not technical enough or you don't quite understand things, I do offer a service on eBay for repairing the head camera, so you can send it to me. I'll be doing it through eBay, so I do accept global shipping to outside the UK. If you are going to send it from outside the UK, please remember that I will use global shipping, so it will go back to the address that's listed on your eBay address details. I won't be just trying to send it back to an address that you've sent me on a piece of paper. So that's it. Thank you very much indeed, and have fun and safe flying.